Well, I really like you, and I would tell you if I didn't. And by the way, I think at a certain point, everyone will.
I love Diddy. You know, he's a good friend of mine. He's a good guy. A lot of people have asked me for pardons. I haven't seen him, I haven't spoken to him in years.
Just weeks after Diddy was sentenced, TMZ reported that his lawyers had reached out to Trump to reach out for a pardon, and according to reports by the White House, Trump was seriously considering pardoning Diddy. Well, Trump has just given an interview to the New York Times where he made it clear that Diddy won't be getting a pardon. Diddy and Trump aren't friends anymore, but the real reason that Diddy isn't getting a pardon is shocking, and like always, 50 Cent is involved.
Diddy was a good friend of yours back then. He has since found himself in some very serious legal trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
Would you ever consider pardoning him?
Well, nobody's asked. You had to be the one to ask, Peter, but nobody's asked. But I know people are thinking about it. I know they're thinking about it. I think some people have been very close to asking. First of all, I'd look at what's happening, and I haven't been watching it too closely, although it's certainly getting a lot of coverage. I haven't seen him. I haven't spoken to him in years. He used to really like me a lot, but I think when I ran for politics, he sort of, that relationship busted up from what I read. I don't know. He didn't tell me that, but I'd read some little bit nasty statements in the paper all of a sudden. You know, it's different. You become a much different person when you run for politics and you do what's right. I could do other things, and I'm sure he'd like me, and I'm sure other people would like me, but it wouldn't be as good for our country. As we said, our country's doing really well because of what we're doing. So it's not a popularity contest. So, I don't know, I would certainly look at the facts. If I think somebody was mistreated, whether they like me or don't like me, it wouldn't have any impact on me.
Diddy has been close friends with multiple US presidents. Obama, Bill Clinton, and even Trump were all friends with Diddy and have been photographed at his parties. Why was Diddy so close to some of the most powerful people in America? Well, according to Gene Deal, Diddy was always looking for leverage. He was trying to position himself close to them so he could use them. Let's be honest, you don't ask a former president for a pardon unless you genuinely believe you have leverage. Nobody makes that call just to see what happens. That's a move you make when you think your relationship is worth something.
And I want to apologize for not sweating, but I do this so much. I'm so cool. I just want y'all to see everybody I'm interviewing is sweating. I'm not even touching my brow. I'm so cool, and I want to apologize. I ain't trying to make you look bad or nothing like that, but I'm just so cool.
We wearing a t-shirt. I tell you, if he was wearing one of those fancy designer clothes he's designing, he'd be sweating just like me.
The guy's good. The guy's good, y'all. Let's give it up for him.
I appreciate you guys.
Peace.
And Diddy's friendship with Trump didn't end there. Diddy supported Trump all the way up to his first presidential campaign. After Diddy was arrested, Trump even said that he believed that Diddy was innocent and that he was gonna look into the matter. This was back in August, and by then, Diddy hadn't even asked for a pardon.
President Trump now clarifies his comments during an interview with Newsmax on August 1st.
Sean Diddy Combs.
Right.
Would you consider pardoning him?
Well, he was essentially, I guess, sort of half innocent.
Yes.
I don't know what they do. He's still in jail or something, but he was celebrating a victory, but he seems, I guess it wasn't as good as a victory. Probably, you know, I was very friendly with him. I got along with him great, and seemed like a nice guy. I didn't know him well. But when I ran for office, he was very hostile.
He said some not so nice things about you, sir.
Yeah, and it's hard, you know, like you, we're human beings.
Right.
And we don't like to have things cloud our judgment, right? But when you knew someone and you were fine, and then you run for office and he made some terrible statements. So, I don't know, it's more difficult. It makes it more, I'm being honest, it makes it more difficult to do.
But more likely a no for Combs,
I would say so.
I think it's wild that Diddy ever thought he could get away with crimes, but apparently Diddy was so confident that Trump would pardon him that he actually started telling all of the inmates around him at Fort Dix that it was only a matter of time before he got out. Diddy was acting like he had Trump in the palm of his hand. Talk about being overconfident.
Don't you hate people that don't know when to shut the hell up? Now look, it's this Diddy thing. Look what he's saying now. Diddy been running around Fort Dix, bragging about Trump supposed to be pardoning him early next year. This is what he's telling the inmates. But I'm going to tell you why he's telling them that. And I don't like it. See, Diddy think he's slick. See, Diddy know they on his ass, and he trying to figure out between washing clothes and all this other shit, trying to figure out how he can stay cool and stay protected. Well, this is why. This is how. What if I told you sources inside the prison are telling us Diddy is letting fellow inmates know he will take care of them? Why? Because he wants them off. And he's gonna do that when he's pardoned and set free. So you kind of feel me where this is going. Lucky for Diddy, he don't know when to shut up, because he may have had a chance to have a pardon if he was shut the hell up. Now, if Trump was gonna pardon him in early 2026, that's over now, because he done put it all out there to the world instead of just keeping quiet. What if I told you?
TMZ reported that Diddy was bragging about being cool with Trump and how Trump would let him out, and when 50 Cent found out, he wasn't having any of it. No one hates Diddy more than 50, and 50 decided that he was going to make it his life's mission to make sure that Diddy didn't get a pardon. 50 started posting all over his social media, tagging Trump and saying that he shouldn't pardon Diddy.
Diddy had been photographed with Trump over the years. There was some sort of relationship there. President Trump even called him a good friend on a 2012 episode of his TV show The Apprentice. The problem is, some comments Diddy made about Trump in recent years as Diddy really entered the political realm. There was a video where he's speaking to radio host Charlemagne saying, "If Trump gets elected, I really do believe in my heart there'll be a race war." In another video on Revolt, he says white men like Trump need to be banished. And by the way, you know who's not letting anyone forget this? Combs' rival 50 Cent. Took to social media recently, wrote, "See, Trump don't like S like this, buddy. You run your mouth too much." And Donald doesn't take well to disrespect and doesn't forget who chooses to go against him. While working tirelessly to make America great again, there is no room for distraction. He would consider pardoning anyone who is being mistreated, not Puff Daddy. And let me tell you, the idea of Trump pardoning Diddy is not getting a ton of love out there.
And around this same time, Diddy's team confirmed that Diddy had talked directly to President Trump. Conversations were happening, and when someone at Diddy's level admits that publicly, it's usually because they believe the conversation went well, or at least that it could be spun that way.
One of Sean Diddy Combs' attorneys gives her first interview since his conviction last month, and she's giving an answer to what's been largely speculated about. Will Diddy get a pardon? Watch.
Have people in Sean Combs' orbit, have they had conversations with the Trump administration?
Yes. My understanding is that we have reached out.
Reached out is one thing, having a conversation is another. Do you know if there have been active conversations about a pardon?
Yes, it's my understanding that we've reached out and had conversations in reference to a pardon.
President Trump, when he was asked about this pardon, he said, quote, "I was very friendly with him. I got along with him great, and he seemed like a nice guy. I didn't know him well, but when I ran for office, he was very hostile." And the president indicated that a pardon is likely not on the table because of that break in his relationship with Mr. Combs years ago. How is he feeling now about the chances of a pardon given the president's commentary?
I think that Mr. Combs is a very hopeful person, and I believe that he remains hopeful.
The biggest obstacle in Diddy's way wasn't even his charges, it was 50 Cent. 50 knew that the only way he could stop Diddy from getting away with his crimes was by making sure his trial got as much attention as possible. Diddy couldn't pull any of his shady tricks if the entire world was watching.
But he's gonna have to go through the process first, because I don't think Trump is gonna show him any special favors for him not going through the process. So if Trump said that he may pardon him, he might still have to do a year, 9 months, or even longer than that. And I don't believe he is. I think 50 gonna be right there in his ear. And I think 50 is closer than Trump than Diddy is. You know, if that's the president and he wanna use his power to pardon Diddy, you understand? As long as he do his due process and go through where he's supposed to go to, I don't have no problem with that. Do I want him out? Nah, I don't give a shit. But I think that he should do the time he's supposed to do. Whatever that might be.
Just last month, Trump confirmed that Diddy had reached out to him, and right after that, guess what happened? 50 Cent announced that he was going to call Trump personally and ask him to not pardon Diddy. Like, Diddy cannot get away from 50 Cent. 50 Cent has been working overtime just to stop Diddy.
50 Cent don't give a damn. He don't give a damn. He literally is saying he's gonna reach out to Trump to remind Trump of the things that P. Diddy has said about him, for the sole express purposes of making sure that Trump doesn't pardon Diddy in the event that Diddy gets convicted of trafficking and racketeering. That's what 50 Cent has sworn to do. And I gotta admit to you, that's wild. Damn, you know you got an enemy there when the man want to go out of his way to contact the president, you know, and clearly he has some kind of inroads where he can get to President Trump so President Trump can hear him. He's basically saying, yo, brother need to go down.
And to make sure that everyone knew how dangerous Diddy is, 50 Cent released his Netflix documentary, Sean Combs: The Reckoning. This documentary became the most viral documentary that Netflix had ever put out and even beat Stranger Things. 50 has even been nominated for an award now.
A new Netflix docuseries about Sean Diddy Combs is making headlines for its never-before-seen footage of the music mogul in the days before his arrest. Now, Combs is threatening legal action against the streamer for airing the unauthorized footage. Behind the series is Combs' longtime rap rival 50 Cent and director Alexandria Stapleton, who sat down with NBC News' Chloe Malas ahead of tonight's release.
Tonight, Netflix releasing never-before-seen video of Sean Diddy Combs filmed just days before his arrest on charges of sex trafficking and racketeering in 2024. The footage is part of a 4-part docuseries, Sean Combs: The Reckoning, premiering Tuesday. Behind the explosive documentary is Combs' longtime rival, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, and director Alexandria Stapleton.
How did you get that footage of Diddy?
I figured most journalists would not disclose their sources.
The recordings give viewers an intimate look at Combs' mindset ahead of his criminal trial, even conversations with his legal team.
Does he know y'all have this in the doc?
I would doubt he knows.
So when this airs, that'll be the first time that his legal team, Diddy, that everybody knows that this footage is now seeing the light of day. Perhaps. What was he intending to use it for?
I have no idea what he was doing that for.
I mean, you know, you're talking about a man who films himself doing everything and has for decades. I think he wanted someone to be behind the scenes with him.
This documentary sealed Diddy's fate the day it came out. It ruined his reputation and destroyed any credibility that he was left with. Suddenly, everyone knew that Diddy was more than just an abuser. He was also responsible for the murder of Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls, two of the biggest names in hip-hop history. Now, the New York Times just reported that Diddy wrote a letter to President Trump seeking a pardon. Mr. Trump said he is not considering granting the request.
It looks like Diddy will have to continue to serve his prison sentence because Trump says he's not giving him a pardon. Back in November, TMZ reported that Diddy was telling his fellow inmates in New Jersey that President Trump would give him a pardon in early 2026. He is currently serving a 50-month prison sentence. Diddy was sentenced in October of 2025, and TMZ reports that his team immediately reached out to the White House. They wanted to get in touch with Trump about a potential pardon for Diddy. A few days later, Trump told the media that he was aware that Diddy wanted a pardon from him. Sources told TMZ that at the time, Trump was going back and forth about whether he would actually give Diddy a pardon. But now it looks like he's made his decision. Despite having a long-standing history with Diddy, Trump says he will not grant him a pardon. He told the New York Times that he received a letter from Diddy requesting a pardon, but he tells the outlet that he is not considering granting the request. I think this was probably Diddy's last hope to try to get out of prison early.
Diddy isn't the only one writing letters though. 50 Cent also wrote a letter to the judge before Diddy's sentencing asking him to not be released. 50 was writing letters to the judge trying to get him to somehow sentence Diddy to life. In his letter, 50 talked about just how dangerous Diddy actually was and how he might come after the victims if he was allowed to get out.
Said, you know what, you guys? Let me also write a letter to the judge.
50 said, "Dear Judge Subramanian, I have an ongoing dispute with Puffy for over 20 years. He's very dangerous. Multiple times I have feared for my life. I think you should consider the safety of the general public, Your Honor, before unleashing him upon them. There hasn't been enough time for him to reform or make any adjustments, despite him trying to teach a class in there. As you are already aware, the government has spent the maximum amount of money on deploying federal agencies, which appear to be an army in 2 locations simultaneously. Later, his son, who's dealing with his own rape allegations, hey, come on, brother, come on, man. What Christian Combs got to do with this, 50? He claimed that the feds had hit the wrong house. Anyway, Diddy's only going to return to hiring more male sex workers and keeping most of the baby oil away from the general public. And babies need it. My Netflix doc on this scandalous subject is coming soon. Oh man, this is downright evil, you guys. Why would 50 send this to the judge?
No one is willing to help out Diddy anymore. His celebrity friends and political contacts have all left him out to dry. At this point, Diddy is just a scapegoat for the rest of the entertainment industry. They're blaming him for everything and trying to say that they weren't responsible for any of it. Diddy is alone now, and his career is dead.
They did what they needed to do in this documentary. The whole objective of this documentary was to blame it all on Diddy. The devil made me do it, blame it all on Diddy, and the rest of the industry is nothing like this. Like when Curtis Jackson sat there in his interview with Robin and sat there and said, I did this because I don't want people thinking that the hip hop community is okay with this kind of behavior. I don't want them thinking that, we're just going to be silent while all of this is going on. Like, we're okay with this kind of behavior. And my thing is huh? So now you speaking for all of hip hop, and all of hip hop is uncomfortable with this. Meanwhile, you got people like Ja Rule who, on the low key, allegedly, Gene Deal has exposed for having his own nude tryst freak-offs with Diddy.
Diddy's kids are trying to clean up his image now. Diddy knows that at this point, even if he does get out, his career is dead, and he needs to do something to shift the narrative in his favor. Diddy's kids announced that they were partnering with the Zeus Network to release a documentary that focuses on Diddy's side of the story. The trailer also revealed that Diddy is going to be a part of the documentary. Now, as if things weren't bad enough already for Diddy, reports came out that he had been caught drinking in prison. And let me tell you, Trump hates alcoholics. The only reason Diddy was even at Fort Dix was so he could join their rehab program and get out early. Ex-inmates have confirmed that Diddy was most probably buying this hooch from other inmates and paying them to make it for him.
The idea that he would drink behind bars, especially while he's potentially seeking a pardon from President Trump, who
doesn't like drinking. But, here's the thing, though. He was white-knuckling. I mean, he intended not to drink. He intended to do better. But he never was in a program. This is his first shot at actually getting rehabilitation.
Well, Sarah, I wanted to ask you about that because it looks like there's almost more eyes on him now post-trial. He's now gotten into trouble twice. I know he'll have his due process, but you have the drinking allegations. You have the three-way call allegations. I mean, this is not good for somebody who wants to get out of prison sometime soon.
It's not at all. But I also think, I wonder, Tom, how much he's thinking, I've got 2 pending appeals, my conviction and my sentence. He thinks he has a really good shot
of just getting out.
Of just getting out. And so this is all a wash. I mean, I don't know to what extent this is sort of this callous sort of thinking on his part, or he just is an addict.
And you were telling me today he's writing a book.
And he's writing a book, which could cause him more problems under the Son of Sam law in New York. If he's monetizing on his crime.
This is all absolutely terrible if true. I mean, Combs made such a big deal about wanting to go to Fort Dix.
Yeah.
He's trying to get out sooner than the 50 months in prison, Tom. The idea that he would be violating rules left and right within 2 weeks of getting there is really unfathomable after, again, listening to him cry and sob in front of the judge just recently saying, I want to do good, I'm sober, and I want to be released to go home to my family. So again, and like you said, President Trump, he doesn't like drinkers, okay? He doesn't drink himself. His brother was an alcoholic, and so he has very strong opinions about that. He's talked about it. And if Diddy's seeking a pardon from President Trump before the new year, this is not a good look.
Videos of Diddy from inside prison also leaked recently. TMZ obtained images that showed Diddy hanging out with gang members and smiling. These are the same people that Diddy has been bribing with the chance to build a career, and probably the only reason Diddy hasn't been attacked yet. 50 Cent trolled Diddy by posting these images on his IG with the caption, "He looks happy with those handsome men around."
Well, Diddy is just a working class stiff while he's at Fort Dix.
So when you're at a prison and somebody says, "You read any good books lately?" Diddy is the answer.
He's the guy to go to because we got video of him at Fort Dix reporting for work in the library, where he is making recommendations and handing out different movies and books for his fellow inmates.
I'm really fascinated just by the library itself.
But you're seeing him here. This is him reporting to work, taking off his jacket, taking off his scarf, and settling in for a day on the job.
It looks like a public school library.
Yeah.
It's
This was the chapel, and this is the media library in the chapel, which is where Diddy's currently working. He's working in a Life Connections program, which is an 18-month program that helps rehab people and get them closer to spirituality, to charity groups. And with that, it will shorten his sentence. But in this media library, he helps inmates with religious material, rent out movies, that kind of stuff. You see him pushing a
really
cart
interesting
with a TV on it.
Yeah, I mean, he was in the laundry room when he first got there.
Yeah,
so this got to be
his first
This
assignment.
got to be a promotion.
Yeah.
It feels like a promotion. It feels like maybe he tried the lunchroom and put in a request for something different.
Yeah, it does
I mean,
believe
he is a
it does
media
sound like
mogul.
he used maybe possibly some connections to get a better job.
Even without the pardon, Diddy could be getting out of prison as early as this year. It's probably why he's trying to release a documentary. If Diddy gets out in this political climate, he and his kids are never finding work again.
Well, Trump recently announced that he's not going to be pardoning Diddy.
I seen that.
Yeah. Are you surprised?
Yes.
Me too.
I thought he would have pardoned Diddy.
Yeah, because they used to be homies back in the day.
I think maybe Diddy didn't do what he was supposed to do.
What was that?
You know how that go, man. You know, hey, listen, the Chevy in the parking lot, the truck is open. You know, them pardons ain't just happening to happen. This a fact. Not those type of pardons. But if Diddy does right, and if he's in the drug program, he'll be home later this year anyway.
This year?
Yeah.
Nah, I don't think so. He's not coming home this year.
You want to do the math?
Let's do the math.
Okay, let's do the math. 50 months, right? He got 50 months.
Right, about 12 months time served?
Hold on, he got 12 months time. Do they take the 15 from the top?
Yeah.
Okay, so minus his 15%. That leaves 42 and a half months. Minus, he had,
about
was
12.
it 12 months time served? 12.
So that's 30.
That's 30. Minus another 12 months for the drug program. That's why he went there. You do the drug program. They take
18 months.
12 months off. 18 months minus 6 months for the halfway house. 12 and a half months. He got sentenced when, in October? Was it October?
I think that's too soon, but yeah.
All
right, listen, if
I'm
you're right,
doing all the deductions.
Listen, I'll be happy if
You
Diddy's
do know
free.
that's why he wanted the drug program.
Right, to get a reduction.
You
I get
get
it.
a 12 months off, and then they send you to the halfway house 6 months early.
It's crazy how Diddy's lawyers were lying about never even talking to Trump for a pardon. They knew that if this story got publicity, Trump wouldn't be interested. No one wants to be responsible for an abuser getting out.
White House official declined to comment on, quote, speculation and told us any decision on pardons would come from the president himself. Combs' attorney, Mark Agnifilo, said he has not talked to the Trump administration about it.
You mean to tell me that you really have nothing to do with a possible pardon right now?
Nothing. I have nothing to do with a possible pardon.
What is Sean Combs saying about the possibility of a pardon?
I think he knows I'm not political. We've never discussed it other than I tell him what's in the news about it. But you know.
And what's his reaction? Does he laugh? Does he say, let's look into it? What does he say?
Go tell him that I need a pardon. Go tell him I deserve a pardon. That's what he said.
How are you preparing him?
So I mean, I tell him what the guidelines are. and the guidelines are about 2 or 3 years. And I tell them, the judge could go above the guidelines.
Do you have any regrets in how you tried this case?
It's a good question. Not really. Not really.
You called the relationship between Combs and Ventura a great modern love story. Ventura says she was raped, physically abused, and became addicted to drugs because of Combs.
I think that's what makes it. You vehemently deny, and I know I respect that she said that. I don't think the jury concluded that happened. In terms of the drugs and the other stuff, I think that's what makes it a modern love story. I think she very much loved him, and I know he very much loved her.
Cassie Ventura's attorney told us that Agnifalo's description of the relationship is a, quote, complete disgrace and affront to survivors of domestic violence.
The only reason we even found out about the pardon is that Trump announced it during a press conference. Trump made it clear that Diddy had reached out, but that he wasn't interested in helping him. That single statement shut down months of speculation and instantly flipped the narrative. Everything Diddy thought he had working behind the scenes was suddenly exposed in public, and once that happened, there was no walking it back.
Just 3 days after Diddy was sentenced to over 4 years in prison on prostitution charges, President Donald Trump seems to confirm he's heard from the mogul's legal team. The comments coming Monday from the Oval Office as reporters asked about a pardon for Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, who's serving 20 years for child trafficking.
I wouldn't consider it or not consider it. I don't know anything about it, so I will speak to the DOJ. Why would she be a candidate for clemency, sir? I don't know. I mean, I'd have to speak to the DOJ. I'll look at it. I have a lot of people who have asked me for pardons. I call him Puff Daddy has asked me for a pardon. I love Diddy. He's a good friend of mine. He's a good guy. I think he's a good guy. I'm going to stick up for him.
Trump and Diddy's ties go all the way back to the late 90s. Diddy was reportedly a guest at the president's 2005 wedding, and they ran in the same social circles.
One mogul after another. It's mogul time. It's your boy Diddy.
ET's cameras caught them together at this New York charity event in 2008.
Diddy's lawyers aren't giving up. They just filed an appeal against his federal conviction and 50-month prison sentence, asking an appeals court for either immediate release or a new, lower sentence.
We are following some breaking news right now, and Sean Combs is taking the first step to appeal his conviction and prison sentence. His attorney today filed a notice of appeal. Earlier this month, the disgraced music mogul was sentenced to 4 years in prison on prostitution-related charges. His lawyers have argued the conviction should not stand because Combs lacked a financial motive for transporting male escorts. More papers detailing the arguments behind the appeal are expected to be filed soon.
The real moment everything finally fell apart for Diddy was when he became cocky enough to brag about it all. No pardon, no protection, and no powerful friends left to make the problem disappear. The leverage he thought he had evaporated, and the narrative he spent decades controlling flipped overnight.